Oh, everybody's already liking the video. Hi, I'm Keyoka, the Awkward Black Nomad. My channel is for Black women who want to travel more, or maybe even be a nomad and bop around the world, or live abroad. I talk about my experiences traveling solo with my two dogs, and I also bring other Black people on my channel who either live abroad or bop around as nomads. Today we have a special guest. I'm gonna bring her up.
It's
Now,
me. Oh,
well, I was gonna say, everybody, Stephanie is a little purple today. We had some technical difficulties that I don't know how to fix. So,
I'm just gonna look like this, but it's okay.
and she has a glow, right?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's like a natural blush, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All over the room.
All over
The room,
the whole room.
the whole room is blushing. Yeah.
But thank you so much, Stephanie, for being here today. Where are you?
Thank you so much for inviting me, Keyoka. I'm in Bogota, Colombia. Right now, I'm in Bogota, scouting it out as a place to live because it just like showed up out of nowhere in my life and was like, I'm the one. So that's where I am. I'm in a hotel right now. I'm in between. I had two Airbnbs booked and I have a hotel stay in between. So I'm in a hotel right now, but I'm in Bogota. So that's why you can see the hotel bed. But
I thought Costa Rica stole your heart. No?
Costa was always, San Jose, Costa Rica was always this works and, it fits my needs. Costa Rica was always this fits my needs. But it was never like I love San Jose. The people of Costa Rica are they're some of the best people in the world, right? And so that gave Costa Rica an advantage. But San Jose as a city is not the easiest city. It's not so even though I'm not a city person, San Jose didn't have the things that I needed, like the conveniences that I needed in my life.
Hmm.
And it was just like shopping. Malls are my happy place. I don't Malls are one of my happy places in the world. I love to go into a mall and just shop. Or even if I'm not shopping, to me is not the same as buying. Costa Rica doesn't have a shopping culture. You can't be like, I want a new something, right? I'd love a dress to wear to be on Keyoka's channel. And then just in San Jose, just pop into the mall and buy a dress, right? It's just not quite there on the city terms. San Jose is a huge sprawling town.
Mm.
So it just didn't fit. So a few different things at the same time pointed me to Bogota. And I was like, well, let me come to Bogota, I'll spend a month and see how I like it. And as soon as I got here, I was like, let me start looking for apartments. Let me find a realtor.
Mm. Okay. I mean, and that's important to talk about because today we're talking a little bit about starting over and finding what you like, creating a life that you like. So even though you're already living abroad or bopping around or whatever you kids call it these days, you still have the ability to pivot and decide something's not for you and change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, freedom, right? It's about being free. Sometimes when we leave the US or leave whatever, we
Mm.
try to replicate what we knew, and it's really just like cementing ourselves into a new place instead of being cemented into an old place. It's real nice to be free. It's real nice to be like, somebody told me about Bogota. Let me go check it out. And oh, I love it. I'm staying. Or I hate it. I'm not coming back. Or now I'm going to go try let's go back to Curacao, or now I want to try whatever, whatever. It's real nice to be free, to use the freedom that we have. If you don't use your freedom, are you free?
Period. Are you?
I don't know.
As everybody comes into the room, I just want to remind you to like the video. I'm also going to reiterate Stephanie is going to be a little purple, so please don't drop down in the comments and let me know that there's something going on. I don't know how to fix it. So sorry, but she looks gorgeous in purple.
Oh, thank
Looks
you.
gorgeous in purple. So
it's, it's, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, sorry. But so Stephanie, if anybody is watching this channel and they don't know who you are, have never heard of Exodus Summit, Could you give us a little bit of background information? What is
Sure.
Exodus Summit?
Sure. My name is Stephanie Harry. I'm one of the co-founders of Exodus Summit. Exodus Summit is a online conference. It is a community of 22,000 plus Black women. It is in-person events and meetups for Black women who are interested in leaving the US. Whether we are talking about leaving the US short term, maybe on a career break, whether you're leaving the US for good, something in between, whether you're going to move to a specific country or you want to bop around, try some places out, see the world. Exodus Summit helps Black women make that more possible in their lives. Instead of like, because I was a person who, up until I was about 40 years old, I thought that it was not really possible for normal, everyday people to travel the world full time, right? I thought you had to be some sort of jet set trust fund heiress to be able to see the whole world or see, see parts of the world you were into. And so Exodus Summit just makes it more accessible and gives Black women an opportunity, a place, a space to share their own experiences with other Black women.
Perfect. And I've heard you say before that, like, the idea of waiting for retirement to start living your life sounded terrible. That sounds like a terrible idea to everybody.
Now it sounds like a terrible idea, but when I was in my 30s, that's just how I thought it was going to be, right? I thought that's what it was going to be. I don't like it here. I don't like what I do. I don't like where I am. I don't like how I'm living. But, I'm going to hang in there till retirement age, 65, 67, 72, really, based on the way I was with money. And then I'll get to live. Then my life is my own. Then I get to do new things and see the world and be myself and be the person who's in control of my time.
Mm.
Then I get to be free. I was really like living like that until 40. So it seems kind of normal when you say it to other people. You're like, you shouldn't be waiting until retirement age to start living. They're like, no, that's what we do here. That's that's how the whole country is set up. But you can opt out of that. I'm so glad I did. But I totally, there is a timeline out in the world. There is a version of me somewhere in the world where I wasn't introduced to this, where I would absolutely still be counting down to 65 or 60.
I think about that a lot. Maybe because I watch a lot of sci-fi stuff, but this idea of like multiple dimensions, like there's a version of me that made a different choice and is living out a different life.
Yeah.
So can we talk about that choice? So you said you like basically had the normal was considered normal life of I know you were working as a pharmacy technician, and then all of a sudden you turned 41 and you were like, all right, y'all, bye. Like, what was the journey even coming to that decision?
A few different things happened around the same time. My mom retired, and she retired at 65. And then we went on vacation. My mom, dad, and I went on vacation to Southern California. And I got to see what it was like to start living, right? And start traveling at 65 in a 65-year-old body, right? Her hip and his knee and that, right? We got to eat dinner at 4:30 because they want to be in the bed by 6:30, right? I saw what that was like and I was like, oh, it's a scam, right? We're supposed to use all of our good years, all of the good movement years. I don't mean you have to not be in a good body as an older person. But for the most part, we have to use all of our years of good body and good movement working,
The
working.
juicy years, from what I hear.
Say it again.
I said, from what I hear, the 40s and up are like the juicy years.
Hey, the good stuff. Right? I'm supposed to spend all of that working and maybe, living from vacation to vacation. And I was never even good at saving vacation time, so I could never take long vacations anyway, because if I got 4 days, I'm taking 4 days. So I would that plus I went on vacation to Brazil for my 40th birthday. And I got to run into some younger people probably in your age category who were like, why did you fly all the way to Brazil to be here for 6 days? Like, that's stupid. That's really dumb. You should quit your job, travel until you run out of money, and then go back to work. And that put me on a new trajectory. That was the timeline shift, right? That's when I started living in this timeline.
Not Yvonne said you heard right. So basically they said you should quit your job and you was like, you know what? Why am I not quitting my job?
Listen, a fool is somebody who cannot learn from other people. I'm gonna learn from other people. One thing I'm gonna do is let you tell me a way that you did something that I want. If you have something I want, I'm gonna listen to how you got it,
Mhm.
even if your way won't work for me. Right? These were kids in their early 20s who were in Brazil for 3 months during the World Cup, going around places, doing stuff. Right? I'm there for 6 days. Best believe I'm gonna listen to how they did it. And I went back home and got my plan together, right? I went back home. That was July of 2020. No, it was not. July of 2014. And September of 2015, I was out, had my money together, quit my job, and left, right? And I was like, okay, when I run out of money, I happen to have a job where I know I can always get a job, right? Working in a hospital means you can always there's a lot of hospitals. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do what they said. I'm gonna live. They had what I wanted, right? They had the freedom, they had the time, they had the travel. I wanted that. So absolutely, I listened to what they said.
I feel like I think the generational thing comes into play a little bit because I look at my little sister is in Gen Z
Yeah.
and I look at her life and I'm like, how do you just like go after what you want so courageously? Like you don't even think about it, right? It's like you immediately come out the gate prioritizing yourself. And
Yeah.
I feel like over time it gets easier and maybe like people coming up after you have learned, hey, why am I doing all of this? Because I know most millennials, uh I think we're all moving towards like living easier lives, but I think a lot
Yeah.
of millennials are really stressed out right now.
Well, millennials are in the category of, so Gen Z feels fine living with other people.
Mm,
Millennials, you're in an age category where you want to live by yourself, but the system is not conducive to you living by yourself. Money and the rent is too damn high, and the money is worth nothing anymore. So y'all are in that in between space where you're forced to try to live like other people, right? Like life used to be for the baby boomers and the Gen Xers, but you don't live in the baby boomer or Gen X economy. The Gen Y never has not yet had to try to. The millennials did not have to try to go along to get along. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Things were already so different. Millennials were in between, and Gen Y never. The Gen Zers never had to try to live the way that y'all have to try to live, like paying your own, paying rent, one person paying for buying a house, one person buying a house.
Yeah.
Those days are over, but y'all still did that kind of thing. You're in between.
That's fair. That's really fair. Angela says that's awesome. Then Stephanie spread the word. Once you learn, say something.
Absolutely. You think I'm not going to come back and tell everybody? I was like, oh, listen. Now I made a list, an actual list of Black women in my life, who I was like, I want her to do this too. I made a list, and that's why I started YouTube, because I had a list of eight. It was eight Black women who I was like, you're next. Right? Absolutely.
What kind of fears did you have when you were first starting out? Because I'm sure not everybody was like, "Oh yeah, Stephanie, that's a great idea." I'm pretty
No.
sure people were like, "You're insane." You-
My family, my parents didn't get it. My dad is more of a rebel, so he got it, and then but my mom didn't get it, and so then she convinced him that he didn't get it either, right? So people thought that I was having a breakdown, that I was losing it. Why would you leave? Why would someone in a sound mind and a sound body not want to have a job, right? Even if it was for 1 year, because I only had enough money for a year. Even if it was for 1 year, why would a sound mind, sound body person not work? Why would a sound mind, sound body person leave the United States and spend time in these other countries that are like what's the word they used to use? Before developing, they would call them some other word, right? Why would you want to go to these countries that are that when you live in the United States? So there were other people who had those kinds of fears. My main fears were that I was going to run out of money, that I was going to hate being on the road all the time and traveling full time, that maybe I would get sick or injured or something. And truth be told, each one of those things came true in some way, and it wasn't that bad. It was better than staying in the United States and having a job.
That's so true. Wait. No,
Yeah.
no, no, you said something like it wasn't that bad because when I was traveling, I definitely had I was like, well, this is it. Like everybody told me that I was going to get kidnapped and I'm going to get chopped up in a million pieces and now I'm in this situation that's real questionable and it's not that bad. I didn't get chopped up. But that's so true. It's never the actual scary thing is never as terrifying as you think it is.
That's right. That's right. It's because I think that's because we're probably living the worst case scenario, right? My worst case scenario was uh, I'm going to have to come back to the United States and get a job, right? Like that was the worst case scenario. I was already living the worst case scenario. So even the fears coming true was better than the life that I was already living.
Mm,
So things really work out for you when you like try. When you decide you're going to take the reins over on your life, right? You're going to have agency. You're going to drive the boat. When you decide that, things will work out for you in a better way. There's no time where I stay working, where I stay in Wilmington, Delaware, where I stay coming home every day after work and being like, I hate this, this sucks. And then waking up in the morning and being like, I hate this, this sucks. There's no timeline where I stayed there and still had peace and joy and community and connection, and that those things don't go together.
mm. Did you so you mentioned that like your family thought you were having a meltdown. Were there
Yeah.
times where you questioned yourself to say like am I doing the right thing? Am I having a meltdown and I just don't know it? Like did you see
No,
yourself?
no, I was afraid. I had fear,
Mm,
but I never felt like, am I losing it? Am I doing the wrong thing? I always felt like I was doing the right thing. There was always like flow
mm,
and ease. And to me, when I'm doing the wrong thing, everything is hard and I'm always banging my head up against the wall. But everything, even though my plan took me 15 months to execute, things really worked out for me. And so, no, I never felt like, am I losing it? I think you know when you're in flow. You know when you're moving toward the right thing. I think you know. Now, the fear, sometimes we misinterpret fear as I'm doing this wrong
mm.
because we think, oh, if I was doing the right thing, I wouldn't feel fear. Absolutely not. We feel fear. We're humans. We feel fear anytime we do something new. But don't worry, dogs. We've all heard dogs bark before. They're all
Yeah,
right.
Frank is trying to give you an amen. Okay. He said,
Okay.
yeah, girl.
Yeah. He said we feel the fear and we do it anyway. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I never felt like, oh, is this the right thing? Is this the right thing?
Mm,
That was always reassuring. But I did feel super scared, super afraid. It was hard. It was some of this was hard. I went to some countries where not only can I not speak the language, but I can't even read the language. I will never understand Vietnamese or Thai or whatever. You know, maybe in the Philippines I could pick up a word or two if I had tried. But in some of those places, Cambodia, that is the frilliest, curliest alphabet I've ever seen. I will never. So some of it was very scary. But there's a difference between I was afraid and I didn't know if I was doing the right thing.
mm. Okay. So you said
Did
it.
you feel you did that too? Did you feel? How did you feel? Did you feel like, is this the right thing? Did you ever have that kind of question?
No. But there was I did have moments like the night before I left, all bags packed. I was booked up to I think 3 months, flight secured, ready to go. The night before I left, I had a breakdown. I went to my aunt's house and I was just like, what am I doing? Like, this is crazy. They're gonna stop us at the airport. They're gonna shred the plane ticket. Like, everything's gonna fall apart. You start like catastrophizing a little bit. But
Yep.
I don't think there was ever a moment where I was like, I regret doing this. Like, I'm in this foreign country and I shouldn't be here. I don't think I've ever had that feeling. If
Yeah,
anything, it was, man, I wish I had done this sooner.
absolutely.
Yeah, like, I wish I had done this sooner. I wish I had traveled more so I could know that there's just a different way to live life. There's a different way to do things.
That's right. Yeah. I think I want to say one more time to anybody who's like making a big change. I think you trust your desire to make a change. Trust that desire. Just because you're afraid, right? Just because you start to get scared and panicky doesn't mean that it's the wrong thing. You can trust yourself. You know where you want to go. You know what life you want for yourself. Trust that.
Yeah.
I'm glad we
Marissa says, I traveled outside the US for the first time last year. I traveled to over 30 villages and cities in France, even drove, and it was amazing. My only regret was that I let fear stop me for so long. That is so beautiful, Marissa.
Yay.
Yes,
Great poop.
me.
Yeah.
Croissant.
Yeah. Mhm. Yes, that's amazing. Yeah, so like it's a nice world out there. There's some scary parts of the world, but most of the places you want to go are not the places where you're going to end up, kidnapped and sold into slavery. You probably not.
Yeah.
Probably
I
not.
mean, I always feel like they don't want me
That's
also.
what I told my dad. That's what I told my dad. I was like,
Problematic.
my knees don't even bend all the way. They don't want me in their rice fields.
I
There's a better option.
I just feel like there's better options. I don't know. I don't know.
Same. That's what I said. My dad, because after my mom got my dad so worked up, he said, "I'll tell you what's going to happen. They'll arrest you for nothing. They'll sell you into slavery." I was like, "Dad, they don't want nobody picking rice in their little rice fields. I can't even really bend over like that."
And you be slow about it. Like, there's just much better people who are like trained to do these things.
There's a better choice.
Yeah.
Absolutely, there's a better
Yeah.
choice.
And I think too, like, other people's fear, I know it comes out of protection and like care, but sometimes it could really hinder you. Like, if you have too many outside voices, it really harms the life that you could be having, because their fear should not be your fear.
Yeah, that's why you have to be in community with people who get it. Right? You're going to get the messages of you're ruining your life. This is ridiculous. Big mistake. You're going to regret this. You're going to get those messages. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what it is. Even if it's, I've decided not to buy a home, I'm going to rent a home. Somebody's going to tell you you're doing that all wrong and you're making the biggest mistake ever and whatever, whatever. So, whatever thing that you want for yourself, you need to have people who have normalized that thing in your life. You need to be in community with people who do it that way because you're going to hear a whole lot of the other message. You need to counteract that and counterbalance that. And there's only so much you can do. Your brain is only so strong. You need some other people on your team. You need some people on your team who are like, "Oh yeah, girl, I did it." Or "I'm doing it," or "I think that's a great idea and I support you and let me send you a little cash," or something. You need some people on your team. Community is more helpful than we think it is. And it helps. We think of when you want to be the best version of you, you think you're the person who's going to get you there.
Mm.
But I'm here to tell you, your community is who's going to get you there. The people who are on your team are the people who are going to get you there. And so that's why you have people on your team. You share the things that you want to do instead of keeping everything to yourself because you know somebody's going to have a negative reaction. You find people that you can share it with and people who can push you forward because that is what is going to get you to the best life you can live. And that's what we want. We've had enough of this is fine. We've had enough of that.
I can
We're
make
oh, that's,
Yeah, I can make it. This is fine. This is all right. I can do this for 40 years.
I can make it work. I can make this work. I'll
Yeah.
count down.
That,
Right. Enough.
yeah, definitely. Um I think also, like, as you're talking, I'm thinking, That's like one of the biggest reasons I joined Exodus Summit is because there were so many different examples of people living the life that I wanted to live.
That's
Like,
right.
and it doesn't matter how old you are, you need variations, right? Because if everybody in your inner circle, if everybody in your family or your friend group hasn't done a thing,
Yeah.
then they're not the ones you can go to for advice. They're not the ones you can go to for an example of what success looks like, because your version of success might be different than theirs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're a part of the Exodus Summit community. Yeah, yeah, you have to have that. You have to have some people in your life that who are like some a couple steps ahead or walking right beside you. And it's really nice to be able to share stuff like you do, right? To now be able to share with newer people, whatever age they are, right? There are newer people in the community who are in their 70s who learn from you.
I don't me?
It's
Well,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't you have a YouTube channel where you talk to people about?
yes.
Yeah. And don't you think people learn from your YouTube channel?
Yes. Um
Sometimes Keyoka, sometimes, sometimes Keyoka be acting like she's living in the other timeline. You're in this timeline, Keyoka, where you have a YouTube channel and where you traveled a lot full time and with the
right.
dog. This is the timeline we're in. I don't know.
Yes, but it's like, so yes, I have a YouTube channel, but people see me. Y'all can see me. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, surprise.
This is
Today is the day Keyoka learns how YouTube works.
listen, gonna become a faceless channel. Like, but okay, so during your first sabbatical, when you took that year off, what did you learn about yourself? What were some of the lessons?
I learned a lot. So there were things that I thought were me, right? Some things that I thought were just my personality that were really just responses to the place I lived. I lived in a place where, as a black, I'm from Delaware, but I lived in Ohio for a good part of my youth, right, from fourth grade to high school through high school. And I learned that some of the parts of me that I thought were me were really just because I lived in a place that wasn't really to me. The people, the white people, you know. Um, I lived I lived in, and I learned that I wasn't as protective and as like protective of myself and as walled. I thought I was a person who lived, I would get, you're standoffish. That was the
Mm,
feedback that I would often get in my life, that I was standoffish. And I learned that, oh, well, that's because I lived in a place where, like, I got kicked off the school bus in middle school, I think. A white woman just came to the bus stop one day and told the bus driver that he should put me off the school bus. And I got kicked off the school bus for days or weeks, right? So, absolutely, I became a standoffish young person. I was a standoffish girl. Um, and I learned that, oh, maybe I'm not these things. Maybe these were just coats and armor that I had to put on to protect myself in that place. And when I'm in a different place, I'm a different person. When people treat me differently, I am different. So I learned that I'm a people person and a talker. I've always known I was a talker, but I didn't necessarily know I was a people person. I learned that I'm okay with trying some new things and saying no to some new things. I thought I wasn't a try new things kind of person. Um, yeah, I learned that I can like navigate and figure things out. I've always felt myself to be a little, I guess, flighty and in my head, right? I was a kid who liked to like stay in my room and just imagine things. But I learned that in the realistic world, I can go out there and navigate things and figure it out.
mm,
And those were really amazing things to learn about myself. And I was 41, right? Those were really amazing things to learn about myself, to take forward for the rest of my life. That, I'm a people person and that I can figure stuff out and, that things work out for me. Really, really big. Those were really huge. They might not seem that huge to somebody listening who already knows those things about themselves. But those were really huge revelations. And then I also realized that I viewed myself as a worker, even though I didn't have any reason to. I still identified myself as a worker and not as a whole person. That's an America thing. But once I started once I stepped away from the United States, I no longer identified myself as a worker, right? And no longer felt like work should have a big space in my life. Work just became a slice of my life pie, the priority that determines all the other things I do in my life.
Mm. I think that's a big American thing. Like when you meet a person in the US, the first question they ask is, "What do you do for a living?" And it's even
Always.
phrased for a living. Well, I
Mhm.
sleep, I eat. But it's like, no, it's like your job is a um your job determines how someone should treat you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And I noticed that because when I went to other places, them people in other countries never asked that question. Never asked that question. I mean, never. If anybody in another country turns to you and asks you, what do you do? It's because they're American.
Mm.
They never asked me that question. I stayed in hostels where I slept in the same on the same bunk with a person, and we would go out all day and go to museums and stuff and go to dinner, eat breakfast together, eat lunch together, eat dinner together, go back, sleep in the same bunk bed, and never ever asked each other what we did for a living. We never talked about work or what we did as a way to like determine how much respect that person should have or whatever.
But I am always curious how, like, the people who I do meet abroad, would they think I do for work? And it's always something really funny. Like
What do they
someone thought
think?
I was like a mistress.
Oh,
Like I was like, "Oh, like, do I give
rich lady.
rich li-"
Oh,
like
I would for if I would assume her mistress is a rich lady, so you must have some rich lady energy.
maybe I don't know. I was strangely flattered by that.
I probably would be too. Maybe,
I
do you walk around town with your little dogs all
was-
unbothered?
right with my nose turned up, like, ugh.
Yeah, yeah, maybe that's what it is.
But I did like what you said about like finding out that there were parts of you that you never knew existed. You know,
Yeah,
like your personality. Like I didn't realize, so I still consider myself an introvert, right? But I think I'm way more outgoing after traveling, just because you're forced to talk to people, like when you need help with something, when you need directions, when you want to build community. It's like it pushes you to kind of do things that you would never do normally, like in your hometown.
that's right. That's right. Stretches you, it helps you grow. Yeah, it's amazing what stepping away from your life can do to you, do for you. Right? You really grow and learn and stretch and try new things and receive. It's an amazing thing. I hope that all people, I wish that all Black women could spend a whole lot of time out of their lives, right? In a different life. Plop yourself into a different timeline and enjoy that life and see what parts of that life you want to bring back to, the other life.
Yeah,
I
and
wish we
it's so important, like an extended period of time, like because doing those like 1 week here, couple days there vacations, that's not the same
it's
at
not the same.
all. You need to like forget your old life a little bit.
That's right. Yeah, vacations are tiring because we have to do all the things in a few days. And we have the dread of going back to work that's always with you on a vacation, no matter how long your vacation, even on a 3-week vacation, right? You still have the countdown to going back to work, right? First you have the decompression, the rest phase, but then you have that dread phase, just like every weekend. You have the countdown of going back to work. So it's not the same. You don't get those benefits when you're on a vacation compared to when you're like, I don't work for this period of time. I don't work. Nobody is in charge of my day. Nobody's in charge of my time. Nobody's in charge of my location. I'm free.
Yeah. And I think that's probably why you will tell people to quit their jobs. Can you talk about that? Can you talk about that? Like what is a sabbatical? What is a career break? And what benefits do you think any black woman would have for by taking one?
I use sabbatical, career break, gap year, mini retirement, all interchangeably. Some people will always try to correct me and say a sabbatical is only when your job pays you while you're off. But you can call it a sabbatical if you want. I think sabbatical has like a healing connotation to some women, which I
Mm,
like. I like the idea that I'm taking some time to focus on me. But to me, it's just an extended period of time where you don't work. For a lot of Black women, we never get time in our adult lives where we don't work. I know plenty of Black women who started working in their teen years and are still working until they retire. And so it's I would say a sabbatical, time in your adult life where you don't work on purpose, even if it starts with you getting fired or something, even if it starts accidentally.
mhm.
Once you decide that it's on purpose, that then you're in the career break, then you're in the sabbatical. I think that we should all do it because we have a different relationship with work than other people. As Black women in the United States are just expected to hold everything, and we're just expected to sacrifice ourselves for others. And we're just expected to focus on work and achievement and outside value or other people valuing us more than we're expected to value ourselves. Other people really in their lives do get this on like, what do I want for myself? And, who do I want to be? Whereas Black women we're told who to be. We're told what is important in our lives. And what's important in our lives is achievement, money, and contribution to others. And we don't get a say in what that looks like and how it looks. Black excellence tells Black women this is how you live to be respected. It doesn't matter if you respect yourself, right? You can work for the most evil corporation in the world. As long as your title is high enough, you are respected by on the outside. It doesn't matter if you wake up hating what you do and hating how you contribute to the world or don't contribute to the world. Your value of yourself means nothing compared to outside society's value of you. And outside society's value of you only comes from you having a very specific position in the world, very specific types of jobs, very specific income. If you say you want to be a mother and that's your focus, Black excellence is like, nope, not interested in you. If you are, anyway, so why I think your question was why do Black women need a break? We need a break most of all because the world is not the same to us. The world is not as kind or as gentle to us at all. And so we have to be extra kind and extra gentle to ourselves.
Yes. And I'm here for you getting on your soapbox. I love to hear it. Because I think Black women need to hear repeatedly that the burdens that people have placed on your shoulders do not belong to you. You can walk away at any time.
Opt out. Opt out of it. I'm not doing that. And then just leave. Burn the cape, right? You can take the cape off, but people still follow you around like James Brown and try to put that cape back on you. So burn it. Set it on fire. Do you know James Brown, Keyoka? Oh, you don't.
Yes.
Okay. Right? That's how the responsibility cape works with Black women, right? We try to be like, no, my health is suffering or my family is suffering or just I'm suffering. And we'd be like, no, I can't. We take that cape off and they'd be like, oh, you dropped something. You wrap that thing back on you. Let me tie an extra double knot, right? Didn't I know you said you quit, but didn't you actually mean you wanted to run for higher office, right? I know you said you needed rest, but didn't you actually mean you wanted to be the school principal? I know you, right? People will start to throw that cape back on you in a second and guilt you into thinking that you're wrong for not wanting to wear that cape. So burn it, burn it.
Yeah. And they also will, so there's a bunch of different sides of this, but it's like people put all of these expectations on you to like achieve greatness or what they decide is greatness. And then you're undermined in a way. So you go into these spaces where you have years of experience, where you've now had your master's and you have your doctorate, and you're like, you have all these different letters behind your name. And people still question your authority on that subject on your career. They're like, well, can you do that? Do you know how to do that? Don't you need another certification? Don't you need another bit of training? And it's like, but I've been doing this for 10 years, 20 years.
Every time. It's the strangest thing, right? They want black women to save the world, and also they don't think black women are worth it, no, or worth anything. It's
Right.
ridiculous. You can't win. So all that boils down to is you can't win, right? You can try to play the black excellence game or the capitalism game or the American dream game. You can try,
Hmm.
but you cannot win. It's set up for you to fail. Every other player in that game who is not a black woman, every other player in that game has a vested interest making sure you lose that game. And so, opt out. Stop playing the game.
Yeah. Go ahead. So we have a question. Ty is asking, other than house sitting and securing remote income, what else would you advise us 30 somethings to be to get free ASAP?
Decenter male relationships, decenter men. What? She asked me a question. How do you get free? Who
I'm
if
just
the question is what things do we do to get free, we have to look at what things are set up to oppress us,
no,
right?
I'm reacting because you tugged on somebody's wig just now. I don't know who's watching this video. I feel like somebody just got yanked up. Just a stray bullet just flew in the room.
I say these things with love, which is why I have the lovely hazy filter on me to soften the message. Keyoka put this filter on me to soften the message a little bit. This I deliver this to you with love. Okay, I think yeah, decenter male men and male relationships and focus on friendships and especially Black women friendships. I think reevaluate your relationship with whatever church you're in, whatever religion, whatever faith you've been raised in. Reevaluate that relationship and see if it really means you any good or is it killing you. The Black church is killing Black women.
Period.
So yeah, money. So we talked. Let's see. So other than so you asked for very specific things. I'm giving you more general things. But yeah, money. Right. Find a way to have income that still allows you to be free. Right. Whether it's investment income or a business that you run that still allows you to have your life, live your life, or something. Or a sugar daddy who was like, here, have a way to make money and still live your dreams. Okay. Um, decenter male partnerships for Black women. I don't know of male relationships with men are have been really unhealthy for Black women. Okay, so reevaluate you prioritize that. Reevaluate the church and its role in your life. I'm not saying don't. I'm not saying flip your total belief system, but I'm saying reevaluate what the church, what messages your church in particular is giving you. Those are the steps. Those are the things, and then reevaluate your role with work. What is work's purpose in your life? If work is a means to an end, treat it like it's a means to an end and not a whole life. If work in your life is just supposed to get you a paycheck, right, so that you can live out your real dreams, then treat it like that. If work is there to teach you a skill set so that you can then take that skill set out of work and put it out in the world, learn your skill set and go. If work is there for, you that have friendships, I'm okay with work friendships, right? If work's role in your life is to give you some community and some connection in some way while you also develop community and connection in other ways, then use it for that. But don't use work to give you a whole life. Reevaluate all of these systems, reevaluate how what you think is the right thing. Anything that you think you know the right way to do it or to be it or to live it, reevaluate who taught you that and
Mm.
what was their aim. What do they have to gain from you staying under their boot? That'll help you. That'll help you get free.
Yeah. And it sounds like what you're speaking about is a mindset shift, right? Because you're not saying, you know, quit your job and live off of donations. But you're not saying like I don't know, like, decent to men and go live in the mountains. But you're saying prioritize yourself, The things that you find important, really think about why they're important.
Mhm.
And I would say just start doing things for you. Start doing
Yeah,
more, like really spending time and thinking about what you like to do, who you like to spend your time with, what feeds your soul.
that's right. That's right. And if you don't know what that is right now, it's okay. No judgment,
Mhm.
right? The whole country is set up for you to not know. If you don't know what those things are right now, that's more of a reason for you to take a whole lot of time in your adult life where you ain't got no job, and you can start trying some things and see if some things really speak to you. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
there's a whole, like, I know TikTok is out the door or going to be out the door soon, but like there's a whole like hobby talk for people trying to find what they like to do. And I mean, there's tons of black women on there learning how to color,
Yeah,
getting really into knitting and like walking and different things like that. I really feel like there's kind of a shift happening right now where people are focusing on themselves. And I think that's really beneficial.
good. Yeah, I love to see it. I think some of this is happening because we're seeing like there's no payoff. There's no success. There's no win. There's no parade. Where is my parade? You told me if I did these things I would win. I'm not winning. And so let's give up. Let's opt out, right? Like seriously, we can opt out of all of this stuff and try out a different way to live. Yeah, it is a mindset shift. It's a whole shift about what life is and what I I don't mean like what life is in terms of like why are we here? Because I don't really have that question. I don't care why we're here. We're
Mhm.
here, right? But like in terms of if it's all going to come to an end, when it does come to an end, what do I want to have? Who do I want to have been? Who do I hope I was? And how much longer am I going to let this other thing, whether it's a job or a relationship or whatever, how long am I going to let that other thing keep me away from who I want to be?
Mm. But then also, I think there's some people who put their life on hold because they haven't gotten the thing that they think that they've been told that they're supposed to have, right? I can't travel because I'm single. I had a lot of people say that.
I know. It's the strangest thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So weird. Or like um there's think about think about the moments for women that are supposed to be important for us. So like childbirth, getting married, getting engaged. It's like a whole, and if you don't do those things, it's like you're plucked into a different timeline where nobody celebrates you, and you really
No,
haven't learned how to celebrate yourself in
it's
all
true.
those years. And I also think that, like, going back to what I said about putting your life on hold, even some people who think like, well, you know, travel influencers now are all really thin. I can't be a travel influencer, or I can't travel because I don't have like my dream body. Like putting those like parameters around the things that you want to do instead of just doing it. I think it's
Hmm.
holding a lot of people back.
I
Like I don't
agree.
have
Oh,
every piece of my puzzle is not together yet, so I can't do whatever it is.
I agree. I call it magic number living, right? There's a certain number, whether it's a number on a scale or a number in the bank account or a number of family size or whatever. There's a number where you're like, oh, well, then I become a worthy person.
Right.
Then I become right. Then I become a person worthy of whatever the dream is that you have or whatever the thing is that you want for yourself.
Mhm.
But that number keeps changing and the goal keeps moving. And so you're never going to get there. So be it now. You've got to live now, right? We travel while fat over here, right? I listen. I'm not. Imagine if I had been like, oh, I can't. Girl, I've been all over the world in a fat body, and it's been really nice. It's been really nice. That magic number living is not set up for you to feel good about yourself. The healthy gamer, I think he's a therapist. He's a dude on YouTube who talks to gamers in particular, right? And so he was just talking the other day. I watch his channel even though I'm not a gamer because I like the way he breaks down like therapeutic principles. And he was just saying the other day, like, sure, you could say, well, I'm going to get built, get buff, or whatever men say today, and grow a beard and whatever, and then people will like me. But you're not going to like yourself. You have to like yourself the way you are. You're never going to get to the point where you feel worthy by doing outside things to please other people.
Mm.
It's us. You're never going to feel worthy. You're never going to feel valuable by trying to do outside things that please other people. Maybe they will be like, "Oh, well, you're thin now. You deserve love. You're thin now." They might say that, but you're not going to feel it. You're not going to. It's not going to be inside of you. So you got to come to that realization today. I don't know how you do it. Okay, because listen, I was born with some things that other people don't have. I was born without shame. I don't have a whole lot of shame. I don't know. So I can't help you with that. But there's somebody who can help people with that. If you're doing that magic number living, stop. You can't win that game.
But there's also, I've heard people like who after they get on something like the Biggest Loser, right? Like they grew up overweight or fat or whatever, and then they lose a bunch of weight. They still see their old selves in the mirror. So it's like no matter what you do or whatever this magic number, right, is, once you obtain it, if you don't do the inner work, you're never gonna find that happiness that you thought achieving the magic number would bring you.
That's exactly right. That works with weight. It works with degrees. It works with relationship status, right? It's all the same. You have to value you. You have to love you. You have to take good care of you and not wait until you get to some point that somebody else says is the right point before you start. It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. If you can't do it, if you can't love you today, or start learning to love you today, there's no point when it's gonna start. It's not just gonna kick in. It doesn't kick in.
Well, since we're talking about building community, building other examples of life, what are some of the ways you love on yourself? What are some of the ways you take care of yourself?
I have learned the things that really make me feel good, and I've prioritized those things. And I mean like actual feeling, physically feeling good. So some simple things like I love coffee in the morning with vanilla extract, right? I love it.
And what else?
It's sugar. Oh yeah, I put a lot of stuff in my coffee. I love heavy cream and sugar, but vanilla extract is important because without the vanilla extract, it doesn't smell and taste the same. So I'll do Bailey's Irish cream if I have to. If I don't have the vanilla, I want the Bailey's. I want one or the other. So things that actually, I like fabrics that feel good. I'm not wearing anything especially soft today, but I like things that feel good. For the longest time, I traveled with a cashmere robe. That thing was big and bulky. But listen, if it, right, I want to feel like physically feel good. Um, and then I love to spend time with people I love. I am a loner and a hermit by nature. I think it's even before I lived in Ohio with the white people. I was a kid who loved to be by herself in her room.
Mhm.
But in the long term, in the long run, I feel better when I spend time with people I love. So I spend a lot of time nurturing relationships. Sometimes it's as simple as, hey, I'm going to this city and I got an Airbnb with 2 bedrooms. Do you want to stay with me for a few days, right? Or for a while? Spending time with people that I care about is and developing those relationships, starting those relationships, developing those relationships is a thing I do for myself. I know it's a thing that I do for the community as a whole, or for us, for the friendship, but I
Mhm.
also do it just selfishly for myself because I'm better when I have those relationships, when those relationships are doing well. When they're not doing well, it's easy for me to be like, nobody likes you and you're the worst and all of that. Whereas I know I can just prevent those thoughts by spending few days with some friends. So those are some things, some like two different spectrums, like the coffee and the vanilla extract, and then the cashmere robe. Right, it's a totally different end of the spectrum from the community and connection, but they're all important. They're all important to me.
Mhm. What advice would you give a woman watching this now who maybe she's feeling stuck, maybe she's not sure what, like she's watching this video just dreaming about a life that she could be having but no, like has no idea how to start.
Yeah, the dream, having a dream means that that thing is for you. Maybe not it may look a little different, but having a dream means that thing is for you.
Mm,
People don't just have a dream to do everything, right? There are plenty of things. I don't have any dream to be a race car driver. I've never, right? It's not my dream, right? If you have that dream, it's for you. And so get in community with people who are into that thing, whatever the dream is. It doesn't even matter how outlandish. It might be something that seems so outlandish today. Things that are everyday commonplace today were outlandish 15 years ago, right? So if you know that you feel stuck and you have an idea of something that you might like to do to feel unstuck, get in community with people who have normalized that thing, whether it's a Facebook community or a real life running club or something. Get in community with people who do that thing. If you don't know what that thing is and you feel stuck in your life, quit your job. Seriously, take a sabbatical, take a career break, take a significant, as much as you can, take some time where you don't work. For me, it took me 15 months to save $14,000 to take a year off from work. And this was before I knew about house sitting,
mm,
right? But take some time to yourself when you get where you get to try, where you get to just dream and try, where you get to first rest. Sometimes I think just being tired and exhausted keeps us from knowing our dreams, right? Keeps us from dreaming our dreams. Take some time, as much time as you can, and see what pops up for you. Sometimes it's something that was always there. You know, some of our childhood dreams are legit dreams for us.
mm.
It might be something that's always been there that you get to uncover. But take some time, as much time as you can, where nobody else has a say in your day. No job anyway has a say in your day, and explore some stuff. And then again, get in community with people who have normalized that thing. Be in groups. Get in community with people, no matter how much of a solo person you've been in your life. Being a person who says, "Oh, I did it all by myself," is just celebrating your like dysfunction. It's just celebrating your inability to operate as humans are designed to operate. We're designed to operate together in community.
Yes.
So get in community.
Especially if you're a person who holds on to things. So, like, if you're working at a toxic work environment and somebody said something crazy to you, and at the end of the day, you're like, man, I should have did this, I should have did that. I can't believe, you strategizing. That puts a lot of mental weight on your brain. Like,
Absolutely.
you don't even have the capacity to think about what you actually want for your life if you're so focused on people trying to make you come up out, jump in the
Yeah.
go after them.
Yeah. That's how toxic environments get to us,
Yeah.
right? The toxin of work, right? Toxic workplaces and toxic countries and stuff. They may not, I mean, they may actually harm us with physical toxins, but what they're really doing to us is the stress, the underlying stuff. The stress that leads us to heart disease and high blood pressure and early graves and right or breakdowns, and that is the danger. That's the danger that they pose in our lives. And so that's why it's really really helpful to you to separate yourself, to pull yourself out, opt out of that stuff. Even if you know you can't right now do it for a long period of time, opt out for some time and start working on the more long-term plan.
Definitely. And if you're watching this, everybody like the video. We done got Stephanie Perry onto the channel today. Okay? She didn't come down here to impart wisdom. Like the video.
Oh, is it wisdom? How am I doing?
I think you're doing all right.
Okay, thanks, Keyoka. Oh, calm down. Ease up on the praise, please. Good grief.
But
Thank
you're at the forefront of a movement, really. So I guess like my question for you would be you took this year where you decided to like go on a sabbatical. You saved $14,000. First of all,
you.
where did that number come from?
So the youth, the millennials of the time, were sharing on YouTube that in Southeast Asia you could live on $40 a day, especially if you were okay in hostels, in dorm rooms and hostels. So $40 a day was $1,200 a month, and there's 12 months in a year. That's it. 300. That was it, right? It was just they said it could be done, so I was like, well, if they can do it, I can do it.
So you didn't have a like I don't know. I guess a lot of people don't do bucket lists now, but you didn't have like a bucket list like I want to go to XYZ place. You just thought, well, it's cheap to live in Southeast Asia. Let me go there.
Both. So I had some places that I wanted to see. They were my screensavers at work, right? Are you old enough to know what a screensaver is?
We still have those. They just move now.
So Cambodia, Siem Reap, Cambodia was one of my screensavers at work, and then Thailand, the Koh, one of the islands with the boats and the mountains in the background, right? There's some of the places were my screensavers at work anyway, but my budget was so tight that I had to narrow it down, right? So some of the screensavers from anyway, some of the pictures from some other places, I didn't have it right now. I didn't have it to go to Cape Town right at that point, and I didn't have the money to go bopping around from region to region. I knew that I had to stick to this region because my budget was tight.
Mm.
Um, but then after I traveled, after I came back, when I went on that trip, I was like, this is the trip of a lifetime. But I've been on that trip for 9 years now, so I've gotten to see some other stuff after.
Nomadic Islander says yes, 15,000 was our number. Things were way cheaper. Nomadic Islander is going to be on the channel later on in the month, by the way, you
Oh,
guys.
good. Hey, hey, hey.
15,000 for a year sounds crazy.
Sounds crazy low, right?
Yeah, it sounds crazy low.
I
That's
think today it can still be done with house sitting.
mm,
I think so. That was 2015, right? But I think today you can still be in that range if you're willing to house sit to get free accommodation, even if it's just part of the time. And if you mix in the expensive places and the inexpensive places, you some places are still pretty inexpensive. I'm going back to Vietnam soon, and it looks still good, right? So you
yeah.
can you there it's still a doable number. It's not an it's probably a number where you would be tracking your money. And if you want to be on a sabbatical where you don't track your money, you're probably going to raise the budget up a little bit.
Mm,
But it's doable, I think, still.
yeah. So you talked a little bit earlier about how you had a list of people who you were like, I'm gonna get y'all to take a sabbatical. But that kind of transitioned to something bigger, right? So now you're one of the heads of Exodus Summit. And also you guys sponsor sabbaticals for Black women every year, is it? Is it every year?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yes, every year now. If 2 years in a row, so that'll make it every year. Yes.
I mean, good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, where did that come from that you were like, I'm not just going to help like my friends, but I also want to take this to a bigger stage and I want to like get the message out?
Other people were like, "Oh, let's do this together." Right? I don't have to have all the ideas. I be talking on YouTube, right? I talk on YouTube, and other women, Black women who are the best people, right? Black women will be like, "Oh, let's do this thing," right? I um I started my YouTube channel, and because I wanted to have like a repository of information for some people, right? For those 8 women and anybody else who wanted. And Black women showed up and were like, now let's do this thing together. So one of the first things that happened on my channel was I turned on super chat so that people could give money. Someone said, thank you, this was helpful. Turn on super chat so that we can give you some money. And women started giving me money during live streams. And I happened to have a girlfriend back in Ohio who was trying to equip her bakery, like physically buy stuff for her bakery. And I was like, oh, how about we put this money together and give it to Allison? And from there, Black women were like, okay, and now we want to do this, and now we want to do that. And it ended up with, or is now at the point where we send a Black woman on sabbatical with $25,000, right? We give her overtime. We pay her, throughout a year, we pay her $25,000 so she does not have to work. Um, that is a combination of the community of Black women saying, here's something we can do together, and me having a childhood dream of being a philanthropist, right? My dream is that I am on my obituary, right? So Jimmy Carter's funeral is today. On my obituary will read a lot like his in some parts, right? A philanthropist, a person who put giving, who prioritized giving in that way.
Mm.
I did not have money when I started my channel to be a philanthropist, right? I was still waiting on my birthday money from my parents so I could go, do things. I was still like, ooh, I can't wait for it. My mom used to send me birthday money and Valentine's Day money. I'm like, what holiday is coming up? When is my next money coming? I didn't have the money to be a philanthropist.
Mm.
And still Black women were like, we're philanthropy. That we're doing it. We're giving money. We're just giving money without any expectation, without any exchange. So that is what happens when you get in community and you make that community, like, when you make it a place where y'all share. On YouTube, it's easy to be a person who talks to people, but it's harder to be more vulnerable and have people talk to you as well, and have people share things with you. But once you open up to that, psh, like, change, there's real power, there's real change there. A thing about Black women. So I think you titled this like Black Girl Magic. I saw somewhere,
On
right?
yeah.
I The magic of Black women. I know that there are people who don't like the Black girl magic phrase because it implies that it means that work that we do that is hard and is killing us is just magical and effortless. It's not effortless. It's killing us. I understand that. There is, however, magic in Black women together. Black women together, there is something. There is more humanity, more care when you get Black women together. And to me, that's magic. And so, I don't know. Did you ask me a question?
But going back to Black Girl Magic, that's why I brought you on, because we're taking it back. We're reclaiming it. Because I
Love
like
it.
the idea. I like the idea of having magic because I'm a little witchy. But I think we should be the ones to define that for ourselves, right? Like, what does Black Girl Magic look like in your life? How do you conjure your dreams?
So, I have been called a manifester. I am a person who lives, I think I have vision. I would call myself a person with vision or a visionary. I know that's scary to some people to hear a person claim that for herself, right? Especially a person who also is superhuman and I mean, who's human, period, and make like super ridiculous mistakes and does ridiculous things. But I do think I'm a visionary. I do think I have tapped into like like a vision for my life, and I am holding on to whatever rope that connects me today to that vision in the future. And so to me, my what I would say is my Black girl magic is being super clear on what I want for my life and deciding that I'm going to hold on to them reins and get myself there or get there. I don't have to do it myself. We've already said community gets me there and other things get me there. But my commitment to that, I think, is magic. I think it makes it look like I can manifest things when really what I can do is just say, I want this thing, and now I can be open to however that presents and however it comes, however it shows up.
Yeah.
I think that's magic. And I also think that me being able to be the vulnerable version of me and not the standoffish version of me, I think that's magic. Being the person who can share and be open instead of standoffish and "Mm, I'm not, I think that's magic. And then I think so the community version, the being in community with other Black women. What we can do together is phenomenal. And so I think that's also magic.
Dr. J. Marshall said, yes, you are a visionary. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. J. Marshall. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of us, we all have like our like gifts. We all have our gifts. I think that I've been able to express myself in a way that a lot of people don't, but I don't think I'm exceptional. So I do believe I'm a visionary, but I don't believe I'm exceptional. I don't believe that I'm an exception in any aspect. I'm not exceptional in any way. And I also think that that's kind of magic because it tears down the idea that I have to be good at stuff. I'm okay with being really bad at some things, trying them out. I think that's really helpful as well. That brings about some magic. When you never, because Black excellence tells us that we have to be so exceptional, that we have to be good at things, we don't try a lot of things. And so being able to resist that, I think, has been a real positive in my life.
I think so. And I think that ability to say that you want something and then be able to do it or be able to get whatever it is very powerful.
Yeah.
Um yeah. Yeah. You know, Ariana Grande says I want it, I got it.
I
Okay.
see it, I buy it, right? Something, yes.
I see it, I want it, I got it.
Yeah, yeah. There's enough out there in the world telling you that you don't deserve or you're not worthy of or you just can't do or
Mm.
not you. There's enough of that. Don't do that to yourself, right? Don't do that to yourself. Tap into whatever it is that says, "Oh yeah, I got it. It's mine."
Well, and I think you like because you've created sort of like a social proof to show
Mhm,
yourself that like I can do difficult things, it makes
mhm.
it easier to then try something new. At least that's how it is for me. Like after I spent my year abroad, there were situations where I was like, "Oh crap, like this is I'm gonna get chopped up. Like this is a difficult thing. I didn't think I could do this. I don't know if I could do this." And now because I've overcome that or because I ended up doing that thing and it wasn't that bad, now I look at anything and I say like, "Oh, okay, I could do that." Even I was talking to my friend on the channel. She got a job in Sweden and she said something about like I can't remember. She was like, "Are you going to be a doctor or some kind of thing like that?" And I was like, "You know what? I could be a doctor." But I look at everything like that. Like I could be whatever it is. I could do whatever it is because because I want it. I can do the things that I want to do. And I think when you
That's
cross that hurdle, you can apply it to anything in every area of life. Even if you don't know how, even if you don't know the steps, you could figure it out.
That's right. That's liberation, right? We talk about liberation in really like physical ways, but a mental liberation when you take the chains off. When you take the roof off, I used to always say take the roof off. Like when you take the roof off of what can be for you or what you can be, that's liberation, right? And it's just exercising a muscle. So that muscle that you exercised where you did a really scary thing and did it well, like did it and survived it, came back better for it. That's a muscle that you've now built that you can exercise over and over. You can strengthen that muscle more if it needs more strengthening, right? But you can use that muscle in your everyday life. Yeah, it's incredible. That's agency. It's agency. It's saying this is my life and I decide. I decide.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing. You're young, and you're young to be at this. You are. You younger than you ever gonna be, girl. You better embrace the
Sure.
term. Young, okay, younger than you ever gonna be again. Embrace it. Yeah, but it's a wonderful realization to come to at a young at your age because some of us don't realize that for a long time. That oh, I did this thing. That means I can do other things. I can apply this to other things just be some like I always talk about single moms. Single moms, you can do anything. There's nothing you can't do. You raised a whole person or a whole people by yourself. What
Right.
can't you do? Right? Instead, sometimes single moms are like, oh, but I'm like, girl, you've done something really incredibly hard. You can apply those lessons to other parts of your life. Same with anything that you do that's hard, that's scary, that kind of takes a little extra from you means that it's going to be easier that it's more possible for you to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Yes. And I'm not going to go off on like a Black Power tangent, but there's this book called The Miseducation of the Negro. I can't think of the author right now, but like he talks
I
about how the wait, do you know the author?
think that's Carter G. Woodson.
Maybe. So
I
he
think
talks about how like the American education system places you in a box, right? In terms of thinking. So because you aren't allowed the freedom to think that certain things are possible, it in a way chains you to a standard that when you think about it, you really haven't set for yourself, right? So
right,
like because you only have examples of things looking a certain way, because you've only ever read that people do these things a certain way, you think that this is the trajectory of your life. You think this is how things are supposed to go. But once you take yourself out of that miseducation, you're able to see, almost like the whole box opens up. You're able to see the world around you. And I think that's a beautiful part of not just traveling, but sort of living a liberated life is figuring out how to get yourself outside of that box. Because you may not even realize that you're in a box.
no, you can't see it, you can't feel it until you leave it. Right? Once you get out and you look back at the box, you're like, "Oh, that's all that was,"
Right.
right? But you don't know until you know, right? We hear a lot of time inside the community, "I didn't know I needed this until I had it already." That's pretty common, right? You don't know that the box even exists.
It's true. Um,
Yeah.
so we have a question. CE is asking, how do we apply to get a sponsored sabbatical?
Good question. The previous women had went through an application process a couple of years ago, and so I'll need to figure out the newest application process. So what I would say, CE, is get my if you receive my newsletter, if you go to vicarious.com/newsletter, sign up for my newsletter. Once we decide, because we just sent the last payment. Once we decide on what the process will be for the next woman, we'll let everyone know that that's the process for the next woman. I don't have an answer yet. Yeah, so the first two women were both artists or creators or artists in different ways. But next time it may be just a black woman who needs a break. I don't know. I don't know yet what the criteria will be for the next one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions for Stephanie, please put a Q in front of your questions. I see there's a lot of comments, but I haven't really been looking at them. But if you put a Q in front of your question, I'll try to get to it. Um,
You're doing a great job, Keyoka.
Thank you. Just being a moderator up here, get better every day.
Every day. Every day.
So,
You do.
I mean, that was a good example though of how you run your business. So, you're figuring things out as you go along, right? You're not
Yeah.
somebody who is like, you didn't get whatever people need to run a business. How do you take sort of what you've learned through traveling and now building this platform into your business life? Like, how do you run a business but also be a free woman who's like, I want to live a life of ease? Like, what's that thing you always say? Like when people ask you what you do,
As little as possible.
exactly. How do you do that? How do you do that and be an entrepreneur?
So some of it is in the setup, right? Deciding from the very beginning that I'm not running myself ragged. This is not going to be a kind of business where I run myself ragged and then, hate it. I want to keep liking it. So I really do as little as possible inside of my business, as little as possible. If I if I like house sitter school. House sitter school is some videos that I recorded that you watch, right? I do as so it's some of it is with the setup. Some of it is with the clientele, right? I don't have the women who come to me are not the kind of women who expect the most to begin with. I've set it up that way and I've talked that way. And so women don't come to me expecting house sitter school to be 45 modules and take 60 hours and whatever, right? They
Right.
expect me to do, let's boil it down. What's the easiest thing that she can teach me? So some of it is the way I've set it up. Some of it is the clientele who come to me. And then also the people that I partner with, right? The people who I partner with inside of Exodus Summit, working with Rashida, Rashida and I do separate things inside of Exodus Summit, and nobody is like going back over what the other person does. Hard work is like redoubling people's efforts. None of us is redoubling anybody's efforts. Um, we rely on each other's skill set. And I don't feel like I need to go and learn contract law inside of the business. Rashida does not feel like she needs to go and learn email marketing, even though she does send email, right? We rely on our individuals' specialties or specializations inside of the business to make things easier. And then we remember that the whole point is to help Black women live easier lives.
Mm.
And we can't do things the hard way inside of business if the whole goal is for everybody to live with ease. So keeping an eye on the prize. It's easy to lose sight of the big picture. And so we take a lot of time to step back and look at the big picture. Step back step away from the business, even step away from things, let things operate, step away, look at it from the outside before we go back in. Because we host an annual conference, we usually have time early in the year to like look back at things and see what's working and what's not working. Whereas if we had a constant go, go, go in our business, if it was always launch time, if it was always work time, we would be so stuck in the like on the treadmill that it would be hard to really see what's actually happening. Same thing with regular everyday life. When you're in the middle of the stressful stuff, it's hard to see what is working and what's not working. It's why it's important to step away.
Hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yvonne asks, what advice would you give women who want to take a sabbatical but don't think they have the money to do so? What first steps?
Find some people who've taken a sabbatical. It's always going to be about community. Find some people who have taken a sabbatical on very little money and ask them how they did it. If I was a member of the Exodus Summit community, that's probably one of the first questions I would ever ask. I did it by staying in dorm rooms and hostels. Like some people do a sabbatical by still working a little bit while they're on sabbatical. Maybe they teach people English online through Cambly, make $10 or $12 an hour so that they can have some free time. Some people house sit, right? I would ask, my first step would be to find people who've already done the thing and ask them how they did it, and then gather some data. You don't have to figure things out on your own. And a sabbatical can be whatever you say it is. So if your sabbatical is, my job is stressing me out and I'm going to quit that job and I'm going to find a less stressful, even if it's lower paying job that I can do remotely from anywhere in the world so I can travel for a little bit. That's a sabbatical if you say it is, right? But you don't know that that's an option until you hear some people say it. Keyoka, you're Keyoka. Kira is designing ease. Kira is designing ease on Instagram, and she did that. She went from like director level at her job to entry level so that she could go to Guadalajara, Mexico and relax for a bit, right?
Yes, I
So
turned
first,
down promotions, by
say
the
it
way.
again.
I said I turned down promotions.
Well done. Well done. A job is a means to an end, right? And you don't have to keep climbing. If the job is giving you what you need at this moment, why would you opt in for more work? Who's opting in for more? No, less. We do less over here. Yeah. So seriously, if you don't think you have the money, my first step would be find out how some other women did some things and then put your plan together, cobble your plan together. Your plan is probably not going to look exactly like her plan, but it might include a little bit of house sitting and pet sitting so you get free accommodation. It might include a remote, part-time, simple job that's not stressful that you can do a couple hours a day to help you keep bringing in some money. It might include marrying and divorcing a rich sucker so that you can just have the alimony.
That is not
Everybody's on a
advice.
different plan. We all are on a different timeline in this thing. But you don't know the options. Seriously, you don't know the options until you ask other people what they did. It might be you work a few months, maybe if you have a job so pharmacy technicians and pharmacists can work, I always forget the word, but you can work like contract and they pay you better and they give you housing. So maybe you work contract for a little while and then you work 6 months on, 6 months off, 6 months on, 6 months off, because you're making better money in these contract roles, right? I would, so the first question, first thing I would do, get in community with people who have normalized sabbaticals. I would say Exodus Summit is that place. And I would ask that question. And I would search around in that group and see what women are doing when they don't have a stash of cash. If
Yeah.
it's urgent for you, treat this like it's urgent. If you need a break, if you need some time away, treat it like you need it. And you got to call in the community. You got to call in the resources to help you. It's surprising how little money some women have done this on. I know some women who have house sat back to back to back to back for years and years. The most I ever did was 11 months back to back, right? I've been house sitting since 2016 or 2017, but I did 11 months back to back. But I know women who have been back to back since 2021, 2020, right? Fine, I would get in touch, ask some questions. Ask, a fool is a person who cannot learn from other people. Ask some questions. Don't be a fool. Don't start from zero trying to learn it all for yourself. The first thing I would do, ask some questions. And then I would figure out what is a way that I could make, if I don't have the money to take a sabbatical, but I want to take a sabbatical, then what are some ways that I could make money while I'm traveling? If I still want to travel and rest some and kick it with some people all over the world, is there a way that I could make some money while I'm traveling? And Cambly, like tutoring people in English online, it's going to pay you $10 or $12 an hour. If you're in Thailand for 3 months, um, $10 or $12 an hour can, if you share accommodation, $10 or $12 an hour, you can live fine on that. Wealthy patron energy. Get you a wealthy patron. There was a time when that was absolutely normal. We've been to Europe. We've been to the museum. That's wealthy patron stuff.
Museum. The people who donate. When you said we've been to the museum, I was like, what is she talking about? What you mean?
That
Like,
beautiful art, that beautiful art that we've seen in those museums would not exist if they had not relied on wealthy patrons. If Michelangelo had been like, I can't do it. I got to go to work. I ain't got time to make this. I ain't got time. 16, you see how big this roof is? I got a job. I cannot, right? We wouldn't have those things. Instead, he was like, y'all give me money. I'll make art. I'm all in on creating places for Black women to make art or do whatever. And we pay them for it. We just give them money to do it. That's the whole point of the sabbatical fund. Yeah, I'm down with that.
you
And
know,
you can create your own patron. Yeah.
I think about that a lot, like all of the untapped potential. Because, follow me here. You know,
Okay.
how, like, Jewish people say that, like, during the Holocaust, they lost a lot of people. And there's this loss that now the Jewish people are sort of like trying to recoup for. We lost a lot of people during slavery. And I think often about the writers there, the artists there, the people who like contribute to the greater society with their creations. Don't do that now. Like, don't waste your life. Don't waste your art, your words, whatever it is, your music. I think often about that. Like, who is at Walmart right now not
Yeah.
writing her novel? Who right now is, you know, sitting at a computer, not watching us, but toiling away at a job that they hate when they could be like, creating a masterpiece? Do not waste your life. And I don't want to waste my life. I think about that a lot. I don't want to waste my life.
Pushing buttons at a job. For a while, I was a credit analyst at work. And I was like, this is so useless. This is so pointless. Even before the computers could do all of the work on their own, even before the computers could evaluate stuff. Here I am lowering credit lines by $2,500, right? Like, this is so pointless. Yeah, the drain, the loss continues for us, right? The loss continues because even though slavery has ended, there is still so much economic inequality and so much unsafety that we're still in that period of loss of those things. So I love to see people find ways to force the sabbatical, force the art period, force it. Get some money from somewhere. Rashida always be like a little light fraud. Get
A
some
little
get
light,
your
bro.
get
Rob
your
just one bank.
reparations.
Just one bank.
No, that's not life fraud. Kyoka, that's not what life fraud is not bank robbery. I don't think that's what she means.
No, I think right, because I think that's a blue collar crime, and you want to get a white collar crime. Because listen, you do like couple years. You could do a couple years. Hide the money in an offshore account.
No, even like Operation Slip and Fall, little slip and fall,
Just a little slip and fall.
you could be out of work for years off of slip and fall.
Okay.
That's what I'm right. That is an option. That is a thing in the world. I watched a video from a man who he's black and he goes to he gets jobs where they harass him and he goes to HR, right? He'll get a job in a warehouse, right? Or something where it's all men. And here, as soon as you start working, here the men go. They want to show you naked pictures of their girlfriends or whatever. Men are terrible people.
Right.
He says, "I'm uncomfortable with this. Stop doing this." They then, um, uh, you know, keep going. He
Right.
goes to HR, reports them to HR, and then the job starts mistreating him. Boom, lawsuit, lawsuit. Every couple years, get you a job, file you a lawsuit, leave the job. That is his strategy. That is his life strategy. He's like, it's really easy. You go to work with men, they do terrible things. You report it to HR. They punish you for reporting things to HR.
Mm,
A lawsuit.
that's a job.
That's that's it. That's just his life strategy. Seems to be doing fine with it, right? Over and over and over again, right? Until he's retired for good.
Thank you. Thank you. My temporary co host Yvonne says, disclaimer. Okay, the Awkward Black Nomad does not promote fraud. All right. The words said on this channel are not representative of the idea, the messaging, and this that I'm trying to promote out there. Um, this is for jokes. We are joking. I need a banner that says I need a banner that says joking. Joking.
All right. Thanks, Yvonne. Yvonne is like, listen, you're not gonna sully my good name. Y'all, how's the book club going?
Oh, the book club is great. Do you want to join?
Maybe. So I have a habit of starting and then dropping out of book clubs. I don't have a history of sticking with book clubs. I'm gonna tell you that, okay?
Well, um,
So I need a time.
Rashida has yet to read any of the books we've assigned. So just
Does
for vibes, people join the book club. So
does she come to the book club meetings even if she don't
no,
read? Uh yeah. She can still go. You gotta tell her that she can still come to the
she
meeting.
can still come, but it's low maintenance, right? So like we choose a book. If you want to read the book, fine. If you don't want to read the book, whatevs. But
Yeah.
we host the book discussion live. Um, last week we did one on my channel. I think the next month we'll do one on Yvonne's channel. It's been good.
Good. I saw you put up the post about which book is next, but I'm out of the loop, so I had not heard of. I couldn't vote because I hadn't heard of any of those books yet. I need to do some Googles, I guess.
First of all, we're not putting that out there. Yvonne said you don't have to finish the book. We just get in there chatting. Well, we did have people. We did have people who hadn't read the book who just dropped into the conversation.
Oh,
So
I can join that. I can I can join that book club.
it's really just an hour of chat. It's not even.
Okay, that's my type of book club. I can join that. But what? So, are you reading something? Are you waiting for the book club before you read your next book, or are you reading something right now?
Pro- So I'm gonna ask. I'm going to announce the newest read probably today, like after this interview. And
Okay.
personally, yes, I'm reading something separately. I always, because I'm like a fast reader, I always have like books in rotations. So
Okay.
right now I'm rereading Joe Hill's Horns.
Okay.
Because I like spooky stories. It's not really
Oh,
spooky, but Yeah, there's a movie with Daniel Radcliffe. So if you don't want to read the book, you can watch the movie.
Oh, I
Um,
like him. He's the one.
come
He's
on.
the Harry Potter one, right? He's the one who was in the movie Swiss Army Man, right?
Daniel Radcliffe was Harry Potter.
I believe that's what I said.
Yes, but he's a big deal. He's a big deal.
And is he the same as Swiss
Yeah.
Army Man, or I know there's two different men that I confuse,
He's
right? Harry Potter and the Hobbit.
he's not in The Hobbit. That's Elijah Wood. How
That's
are
what I'm
you
saying, Keyoka. I just want to clarify that it's Harry Potter, not the Hobbit. That's
how
what
are
I'm
you
making.
confusing the two? You know what? This is the generational
You know good and
thing.
well.
This is the generational thing because Lord of the Rings was iconic. Harry Potter was iconic, defining films of my generation.
I believe that's what I said.
You said it, but you didn't proclaim it. Like it wasn't like you didn't say it confidently. Like,
You
oh,
know good and well they always look the same. You know they look the same. I'm pretty sure people walk up to them and just be like, sign my poster, and it's the exact wrong poster. You know good and well.
you know, low key that's fair. And they both kind of short.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to be sure which one because I've seen a couple of movies with Daniel Radcliffe. And he's good. I like him. So I was just saying, I like him. It's Swiss Army Man. That was really creative and like
It was
bonkers.
it was a very good movie. Like it was funny, kind of like heartfelt.
And he was in the TV show with the dog, Wilfred. Wilfred.
Yeah.
That's not. I like him. So when you said it, I'm like, oh, if it's him, I'll watch that. I'll watch what he's in. Wilfred was also bonkers.
I can't believe you're like talking about Daniel Radcliffe like he's just like some guy.
Well, he is.
Yeah, he is some guy, right? Like in a greater scale, but he's also like
He ain't
any
got nothing on Keyoka, and he ain't got nothing on me. Listen, people are humans. I know that. Everybody is human. All
yeah,
right. Everybody eats food and they poop it out their butts. Human person. Right. And especially with men, you can't put them on a pedestal because they will do the worst possible thing.
it's
You
true.
can't. Human people. You got to treat them like humans. Remember that they're human people. But
Not
also, he's a good actor and I enjoy the work he's in. He is just some guy. But I really, really, I think he's a great actor. I really appreciate the choices, the movies, and the work that he does. I like him, but he is just some guy. Okay.
fair. Fair.
Okay.
The second you claim a man, the second you go up for a man,
You regret
you're gonna be
it.
you're gonna be a man.
They make you regret it every time. Every time. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Sydney, hi. How do you join the book club? I'll put a link in the description of this video. You could also search on Facebook, the Read and Wander Book Club. But yeah, thanks for asking, everybody.
And
Uh,
the announcement, you said you'll post the announcement here today so everybody will
yes,
know.
we're deciding a book. We've decided the book, child. Everybody voted. But I'm posting the announcement on which book we're reading for this month today.
Good. You know you don't have to go with the popular vote. You can just pick what you like. You can
I
let people
said that.
vote and say, okay.
Wait, because I said that, but Yvonne was like, "Oh, we should let people vote." But I was like, "Why don't I just choose what I want to read this
Yeah.
month?"
You can do
Like,
that. You're like, even if people vote, you can still be like, but here's what we're gonna read. We don't care. I'm telling you, we don't care. Your potential book club attendee, we don't care. You pick the book, we're gonna read it or not read it.
I appreciate that. I think,
Okay.
yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. At Exodus Summit, so you've been to Exodus Summit meetups where y'all vote for a meetup location and we'd be like, okay, but we're going to South Africa. Okay. Right?
When are y'all gonna do another Exodus Summit meetup?
Well, we're going to with different. Everything is different now, so we're doing the free meetups instead, and we're going to Vietnam. We're going to be in Central Vietnam in the center of February. I think it's going to be at least 80 women there. It's going to be kind of the same size as the other meetups, even though it's free, and even though we're not giving you anything this time. Everything is DIY. it's gonna be quite a week.
I was looking at hotels in that city, very affordable. I was very
Right?
surprised.
Girl, let me tell you, don't tell anybody. I got for a few days, I got a 4-bedroom villa for $300 a night. 4-bedroom
A villa?
villa with a private pool for right before the meetup starts.
Really?
Vietnam is where it's at. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is why I said that 15. So like when I was on $40 a day traveling around for a year, my accommodation budget was $16 a night. In Vietnam, $16 a night got me a whole hotel room, whereas $16 a night in Thailand got me a bed in a dorm room. Right? Vietnam, and it's still you can still do a $20 a night. I've seen $20 a night hotel rooms that are like, oh, it's nice, it's fine, it's fine. The suite that I'm staying in after for the actual meetup portion, because I'm going to be in Vietnam a little bit longer, but the suite I'm staying in, 60 some dollars a night for a full suite with breakfast and whatever and a nice view.
Ooh.
Vietnam is a really reasonable, economically feasible choice for travelers.
I saw a question. I'm trying to find it. Somebody
Okay.
asked about food in Vietnam, but I can't find the question. Oh, here it is.
Mm.
Not before 10.
Mhm.
Outside of coffee, what other food would you say that Vietnam does really well?
All of it, right? So they're famous for the banh mi, the sandwich, which is a lot of vegetables, and I liked, I think it was veal on mine, and I was on a budget. I think I got veal banh mi. They're famous for that, but any kind of noodle dish, any kind of rice dish that you've had somewhere, they do a better elevated version of it. They do this seafood pancake type thing. A lot of their stuff is you just whatever they serve it, you just however they serve it, you put it inside of some leaves and you eat it, right? But they do this seafood pancake, which I think is banseo, something like that, which I cannot wait to get there and eat over and over and over again. But everything, spring rolls, the freshest, most good looking spring rolls you'll ever see in Vietnam. Um, all of it. They do any food that I had in Vietnam. I was like, oh, this is good. They understand flavor. They know fresh ingredients, and they know seafood, but they also enjoy the pork and the chicken, right? All of, but bonseo is my favorite thing. Buncha, buncha and banseo are two different items. One of them is my favorite, and the other is my second favorite. But I can't remember. I think banseo is the pancake, and then the buncha, which is just a bunch of different things in a thing, and you just put it in your little lettuce leaf and put your little chili sauce on it and squirt some lime on it and eat that. Um, all of it. Okay, that's all of it.
If y'all don't notice, there is a huge Vietnamese population where I'm from in New Orleans. And Vietnamese people basically black. Okay. I don't know if they know this, but we've taken them in. Okay. The food,
New
banh
Orleans,
mi,
yeah.
very good. Very good. There's this gas station off of, if anybody watching this is in New Orleans, there's a gas station off of Airline Highway and they serve banh mi. I think it's called like Banh Mi Boys.
Okay,
You don't have to go to Vietnam. Go to New Orleans. You don't got to go all the way to Vietnam. Don't take that flight.
it's true. It's true. Eat the foods. Listen, eat the foods. Even if you're not interested in going to Vietnam, eat Vietnamese food. It's good for you. You'll love it. Everybody wins when you eat Vietnamese food.
Everybody wins. Um,
Yes.
the Nomadic Islander said, I paid $600 a month for a luxury apartment in Vietnam, and that was considered expensive.
Uh-huh.
Crazy prices.
I paid $180 a month for a room in a nice house, but I had a room with like a kitchenette in my own bathroom. $180 a month, and they gave me a bicycle to ride around town. Like, and it was like a hotel room, but it was just in a house. They had built a back house with 4 different rooms, I think. and then a shared kitchen. $180 a month. Hmm. Yeah.
Kay Loves is asking, what websites do you use to book for Vietnam?
Well, so Agoda is the used to be the hotel site for people, right? Agoda, if in Southeast Asia, people always told me to book my accommodations through Agoda. This time I just booked through hotels.com or Marriott or something. Um, for flights, I like to search for flight prices on Momondo and on Google Flights, right? Google Flights. I like to search my prices there, but then I book with the airline. I no longer book flights through third parties. After the COVID, I don't trust third parties anymore. If something happens, if your flight gets canceled, you're on your own, right? So I like to research prices there and then book with the actual airline.
Okay.
So you were in Asia. What parts of Asia did you visit, Kyoka?
I wasn't in Asia. I have
Oh, you didn't get past the
Europe.
Asian Europe. Mhm.
Mm-mm.
You went to Georgia, right?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you didn't go to Tbilisi?
Not you making up my life. I love
I
it.
thought you I thought you went past Europe. I thought you went into Tbilisi, Georgia is like on the line. I thought you went past it to Tbilisi.
Almost. I had planned to go. My mom had a friend in Saudi Arabia, so I had planned to do the Middle East.
Mhm.
Um, but I ran into some hiccups bringing my dogs over. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
had to go. Um,
Okay. Okay.
but I didn't kept you on the line long enough. We are winding down. Everybody, I'm going to ask Stephanie one more question. So if you have any questions for her, put them in the chat. Now's the
Okay.
time.
Kyoka's rushing me. Rushing me.
I'm
Okay.
rushing.
I'm
I'm
just kidding.
rushing.
I'm just
You in Bogota with your big windows. I don't know what you be doing out in the streets. I thought you wanted to dip and do it.
Today I have leftovers in my refrigerator. So I left earlier today, but I think I'm in for the rest of the evening. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for having me on and for getting for talking with me. Even though you tried to make me look unclear on the screen. This is
That's
all Kyoka's doing. If you're here late, Kyoka made me look like this on the screen. I look normal on my laptop, right? But Kyoka put a filter on me to make me look different. All her doing. But
and I don't know how to take it off. So
thank you anyway. Thank you anyway. Did we get our last question?
no, so my question is for
Okay.
any young black women watching this video, right? Maybe they're catching the replay. What do you think is the most important message from your story, from our chat, for them to take away?
I think the most important message is there's a version of you that you haven't met yet, and you're going to love her. And so let's get to that point. Let's get to the place where you can meet her. The not the version of her that has had to put up walls or whatever in her life, not the version of her that has to survive a toxic country or a toxic job or a toxic relationship, right? Not the survivor version of you. But there is a joyful, free, liberated version of you, and I think that you owe it to your today self and to your future self to make efforts to get there. It can seem really daunting and difficult to do something like Kyoka and I did, to leave the country, to travel around full time, or to move to another place, right? It can seem really daunting. But if other people do it, you can do it. And there are people who are out here supporting and giving you information and answering your questions and helping. Kyoka's channel is a place that I would set my calendar. I would put on my calendar, right? This is my time to go here and learn this stuff. Because you don't want to be stuck. I'm serious, Kyoko. You don't want to be stuck trying to figure things out on your own, right? But it's worth the effort. It's worth the effort to go out into the world and see what life could be outside of the US or outside of Black excellence or outside of whatever the thing is that's keeping you bound today. It's worth the effort to go get yourself out of that box and see who you are. And then but utilize the resources that you have. Be in community. Be in community. The idea of figuring things out on your own is a trap. It's a trap. That the whole reason people say that to do things on your own is so that you stay where you are. No one who wants to see people progress tells people to do it on their own. So get yourself in community, in this community, the Exodus Summit community, whatever community you find, get yourself in community with people who are doing the thing that you're into so that it can be more possible for you. It's worth it.
Yeah. Well, Stephanie, thank you for coming on my channel again.
My
I'll
pleasure.
have you
Here.
for
My pleasure. Anytime. You holler at me, Keyoka, anytime. Okay?
okay.
Okay.
Once a month, everybody. You heard it here first. Stephanie will be back on the Aqua Black Nomad channel. If you are watching this video in the future, please like the video. Drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about the topic for today. Click the bell to know when I'm going live. Click the subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed to my channel. And y'all stay black. Peace out. Thank you so much for watching us. Now I have to find the button to end the live.